So like any other normal person in life, you've probably had that feeling that you can't do anything, that you have no control, that everything around you is just falling apart. You can't have proper conversations, your relationships aren't going the way, your health is getting out of whack, your eating habits are changing, everything is just turning to fucking shit. And the worst part about it is you can't do a single thing. This is called a negative spiral. Now, we all go through negative spirals in life. Popping fines when you're not expecting them, shit coming up that's not supposed to, just hordes and hordes of unexpected negative things that come up and make you useless. They render you absolutely out of control of your situation. You have to address these negative situations. Now look, everyone has negative spirals in life, and life is just something that no one can figure out and no one can control. The purpose of this video isn't to berate you on why you are useless, why you can't control these negative spirals. If you're going through one of these right now, the best thing to do is probably watch the rest of this video. So throughout my entire life, I've seen these happen not only to myself, but to my friends, and it's almost like a hypnotic, possessive thing that captures someone. They just kind of get sucked in, they just go through a series of bad choices and continuous bad choices they feel is necessary, which is making their life shit, and they know it. So why do we actually have them in the first place? Like, these things aren't just popping out of nowhere. We don't step on a flipped coin and bad stuff happens to us. So negative spirals come from a unconscious lack of discipline. It basically means that we are making poorer and poorer choices on such a micro level every day that eventually we slip back into our bad habits. 90% of the time, this is what causes us to go back to our bad habits and make choices that actually we're not comfortable with, and we self-sabotage ourselves, and this shit happens again. So the spiral begins. What do these small choices look like? Well, for diet, it could be eating those extra lollies, knowing you're gonna work it off tomorrow, but still eating it anyway. It could be drinking that extra soft drink, knowing you're still gonna work it off, or knowing you have to, but you still drink it, and it builds up a negative habit. Now, these things stack. They're kind of like Lego bricks. So these tiny little micro habits stack and stack and stack, and eventually it falls, and boom, there you know it. You have a negative spiral. So it's not the end of the world. These things happen in all types of scenarios. Let's look at relationships, for example. You might have great communication with your girl or your boyfriend. After a while, they just don't seem to have the same magic anymore. Now, why has this happened? Well, it's because of a series of events that you did or didn't do. There's either an action you did or didn't do that led to the thing that is happening right now. Now, that's up to you to decide. That's up to you to break down. Inevitably, it comes down to you. At the end of the day, you are the controller of your own life. You have complete control. Everything that happens to you isn't to you, it's for you, because you created that scenario for yourself. Unlike this spiral, some spirals can be actually negative and impact people in your life and people in the life around you. How do you break negative spirals in your life? A bit of a difficult question, but we'll address it nice and simple for you guys. The main way to break negative spirals is to identify what's fucking up the most. Identify what is actually damaging not only yourself, your mind, your ego, and your body. Identify it, write it down. It might be I'm not working out. It might be I'm not talking to my family as much. It might be I'm not taking up as many shifts as I get. It might be I'm not updating my resume, or it might be I'm not updating my social media. However, identify the one that's paining you the most, write it down, and then think of all the things that you can change that are really, really small. These might not have an immediate effect. I'm not saying tomorrow you're gonna flip the switch and your life is gonna be better. The main reason of a negative spiral is you made a bunch of poor decisions, really small poor decisions on a long enough time scale that you ended up here. Now everything's collapsing. So how do you get out of this rut? You have to take one step at a time, up the ladder, up into a positive spiral. Why is this important? Why do you have to take small steps, and why can't you just leap back into the momentum? Why can't you just leap back into success? Well, that's because success is built by momentum, and momentum is much easier when you take 2 or 3 small micro steps a day to get the problem solved and get out of that negative spiral, versus taking a heroic, brave, courageous leap and absolutely failing on the 4th day because everything is not going to work out. The anxiety, the mental pressure fucking builds on your head, builds on your shoulders, and kind of brings you back into that negative spiral and that negative headspace. So that's how you break out of a negative spiral. But if you're trying to get into a positive spiral, however, it takes a lot more. Now, it takes a lot more discipline, it takes a lot more grit, because you'll understand that most positive spirals are people competing to have the best lives possible, right? And that's what you want. You want to compete, you want to actually have the best life you can, so you're going to try and get into a positive spiral. Now, if you're not catching on already, spiral could mean routine. Alright, you can just have a good routine that you don't stray from, but we all know shit happens in life and routine changes, nothing is constant. So, how do you have a positive spiral? Well, I'll see you guys in the next video. We'll talk more about it. Otherwise, leave a like, subscribe if you find this valuable, and I hope you have a fucking fantastic day. And I hope you break your negative spiral.